What would Minecraft's ocean stuff look like realistically? Well, in this video I'm going to create all the ocean blocks and the ocean monument realistically. Enjoy! Part 1. The ocean blocks. Dark prismarine, prismarine bricks and the sea lantern. Let's get to it. I started by creating the dark prismarine block. I just simply used a cube and put a slightly modified tile texture on it. Then, to break up the perfect tile pattern, I scattered loads of moss on it. To represent it in a realistic way, you need a realistic environment. So I created one. Yes, it was a pain to work with, but yes, it also looks fantastic, especially because of the caustics and the mud particles floating in the water. I then placed the block in it and rendered out 5 different camera perspectives. Here they are. You can see them for longer on my Instagram. Now let's get to the prismarine. What is prismarine? I imagine it to be a block made of a lot of different pebbles that were kind of glued together over time by the underwater pressure. So I created it. I started by generating a whole lot of different rocks using a procedural generator in Houdini. Following this, I scattered them inside a block and gave each of them a slightly different color. I then placed the block into the before created environment and again rendered out 5 different perspectives. You can see them for longer on my Instagram. There are still 2 blocks missing, the prismarine bricks and the sea lantern. Let's start with the bricks. I started by creating a tile pattern, similar to the Minecraft texture. Then I remeshed and UV unwrapped it in Houdini and duplicated it around the cube. Following this, I gave them textures and again placed many different foliage building blocks on it. At last, I placed it into the environment, and this is my final result. You can see it for longer on my Instagram. Now for the last block. The glorious sea lantern, by far my favorite light source and one of my most used building blocks over the years. I started by doing some research and development, which ended in nothing. So I had to create it in a less fancy way, using cubes, more cubes and cubes with a wireframe modifier on them. Once I had the basic shape blocked out, I added in screws, textured and shaded the block. Following this, I again scattered loads of plants over it, which in this case actually caught the light of the lantern rather beautifully. This is my final result. You can see it for longer on my Instagram. Part 2. The monument. Having created all the necessary blocks to create the entire monument, I of course needed to do so. I started by converting the real ocean monument to an OBJ file, which I could import into Blender. Then I cleaned it up and structured it. Following this, I ran some tests with the blocks. Turns out, they are incredibly memory inefficient. So I threw them out of the window and decided to just simply create a more efficient version of them, and use that version. After doing so, it finally worked. And over the next couple days, I built the entire monument, like it would have been built in Minecraft. Even after all the optimizations, the blocks were still quite heavy on my computer, so instead of copying them, I instanced them, which results in exactly the same result. But what is instancing? Instead of copying the entire block and all its vertices, you create a point in space, and simply place a block sharing the exact same data as the other block on that point. This way you can have millions, if not billions of objects in the same scene, collectively sharing trillions of polygons and vertices, without needing a ridiculous amount of RAM. Of course, you still need quite a bit of RAM, because a billion points is still quite a few points, and there are more things to instancing as well. But you get the point, don't you? With the monument created, I decided to put around 1 to 1.5 million plants and rocks of all sizes onto it. Following this, I created a really large environment, again leveraging instancing. This environment is one of the most computationally heavy environments I have ever created, and it ate up my full 64 GB of RAM. And all the SSD cache that comes with. But why? You see, I'm a big fan of the concept of building with geometry, meaning that you take objects, loads of them, and mesh them together into another new object, like playing with Legos. It's also called kit bashing. At last, I created about 20 cameras, and then used a batch render script to render out all those different perspectives. This is my final result. You can't see it for longer on my Instagram. Part 3. I should watch more Roland Emmerich movies. Why, if you may ask? Well, let's take a glance at this little piece of software right here. This is Houdini FX, or Houdini Indie if you want to be precise. This is another 3D software, and it excels at everything simulation. Also procedural modeling, but that is another thing. And if I say simulation, you know things are gonna get destroyed. So here's the plan. What would it look like if Dream entered an ocean monument, in a rather stylized over-the-top way? Meet High Velocity Dream, Dream's CGI stunt double. He's gonna be crashing into the water, creating a huge splash, following which he will break through the wall of the ocean monument in a spectacular way. Alright, I started by recreating a small part of the monument in Houdini. Following this, I shattered an even smaller part of the monument into about 70,000 pieces. I then glued those pieces back together and shot High Velocity Dream against the monument. I then finished it up with some particle and volumetric effects and rendered it out. Here's a sped up version of me creating the first shot, and here's the final result. Consider subscribing.